Hey guys, Abby here from Ballerinas by Night. Today I'm filming a video on the basic mechanics of pirouettes. I'm going to be talking specifically about outside, en dehors pirouettes and heavily talking about them from 5th, but we'll also talk a little bit about 4th. Make sure if you're new to our channel that you hit subscribe, ding the bell. Also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And on Facebook, we now have a brand new group, and that group is closed, so you have to find it and join it. I'm hosting it, posting videos there and challenges and stuff like that, so come find it. Now, one of the things we were discussing in the group is how there could be numerous videos on pirouettes, and there could. We can go deeper and deeper and deeper into everything that is part of a pirouette. All I want to give today is the basic mechanical breakdown of what the step is and how you approach it day one. Let's say we're going from 5th. One of the exercises I always like to give is tendu, 5th, quarter, down, tendu, 5th, quarter, down, quarter, quarter, and then we do tendu, 5th, half, and tendu, 5th, half. And I'm pretty sure I have built that into some of the classes I put up here. If you start with that, with either quarter turns or half turns, before we ever get to a whole single pirouette, let's just talk about what we do for this little combination. All right, so let's just start with the quarter turn. So our right foot is in front, arms on bas. We're going to take them à la seconde, and we're going to take tendu. Now the same arm as leg is going to come back together. The connection of this arm and this leg is really important because when we turn, they're going to go at the same time. We're always going to have this leg, even if we're in 4th, we're going to go out, and then together they're going to come in. 1, 2. This arm is also the direction we're going to go. This arm is going to be pushing us in the direction we're going to go, but we're not twisting. Again, it goes back to another video where we're talking about our yoga block. If our hips and our shoulders are a yoga block, we want everything to go together. Our yoga block can't go rant, 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 rant. We want everything solid in our square. So, 1, 2. If we weren't turning, we would just be pushing up tiré. And again, in my last video, I talked about how we don't want our hips to shift. Again, our yoga block stays stable, and we're lifting from underneath this leg. And I say all this because it's important to the mechanics of your first turn. So 1, 2, together, everything on 3, down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to show from the back one time. 1, 2, arm and leg together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? This floor is not, it's a little bit smushy, so it's hard to turn on. That's how we just initiate our turn. To do a full turn, we do the same thing. We just balance the entire time around. And a lot of times I tell my students when it comes to single turns that the single turn isn't really a turn so much as it is a balance that just happens to continue around. Because the thing is, if we get thinking too much about we're going to turn, turn, turn for a single or a double, we can overemphasize kind of the wind up and all this stuff for the preparation, and it really needs very little of that. So let me talk about a couple of things that, and they're common beginner mistakes, but they can really kind of sabotage your turn. Number one is tensing up, especially in the neck. So if we're going to spot, our neck has to be loose. Should be able to, like, we're going no, 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 while keeping our eyes on one spot front. So you want to be able to keep your eyes in one place and shake your head as easily as you can. Hey, look, Sorcia's here. So tension in the neck will really, really hurt your turn. It'll hurt your spot, but it's so common because we get nervous about turns. And so the first thing we do when we get nervous and we're automatically trying to like hold ourselves, like, oh, I'm trying to hold myself for this balance, and we get tension in our neck. If we're not holding our core properly, just in order to kind of like muscle through steps, we'll tense up our necks very often, because it's just, that can kind of, in a way, it seems like it's stabilizing us, but it's also, it's making everything really, really hard. When you see a dancer who's very like tense and shouldery, 9 times out of 10, I can tell that it just goes to their core strength, that they're not strong enough to hold themselves in their yoga block that I'm talking about, and so they're using their neck to do it for them. And believe me, I've been guilty of that at times too. So no judgment. This is a no judgment zone. It's just common mistakes we want to be aware of. The next thing that will hurt your turn is, as I just mentioned, really, really trying to wind up into it. So if you're here and you're like, I'm gonna turn, let me really wind up, that's just, it's gonna get your placement kind of out of balance, and it's not gonna help you turn. Sometimes it'll feel like it helps you turn. Oh, that helps me get around, but it just really doesn't. And a lot of times, as I say, it also causes other things to go out of balance. So what we want to do instead of a wind up, what our bodies are naturally trying to do with a wind up, is we want to lengthen. So before we actually turn, we're going to lengthen in our plie, lengthen this arm, and I don't do this for the quarter turn. This is when we get to the single. So for the quarter, I just keep this arm here and have this one meet it. Boom. So I'm changing that for the single. Now that we're getting into a full pirouette, this arm's gonna go out on the plie, out, and all together the arms are gonna come in, and we're gonna go to our retiré, which will become a passe for our turn, and up and back. Again, I'm really sorry, this surface is terrible for turning. Without the turn, it's lengthen, balance, down. Yeah? To the left, same thing. Lengthen, the left leg is gonna come up, lengthen, up, down. So from the back, right leg, we're in 5th, we plie, we lengthen up and back. So if we are going from 4th, usually we're a little bit croisé, because we're going across the floor. We'd have tombe, pas de bras, 4th. Now, first thing from 4th is that you need to be aligned over your front foot. So some people will still say you should be centered between the 2 feet, and that's correct. Some people will say you should be almost completely over your front foot. That's generally what I think about, is like I'm pretty much over my front foot, so just so that I don't even have to push onto my leg a little bit. I'm just already there, but you should be able to do it both ways and be aware that it's done both ways. The debate about how much weight is on the front leg versus how much weight is on the back leg varies a little bit teacher to teacher. You get some 70-30s and some 60-40s. Some people will pretty much say you should just be able to pick that leg up and almost have no weight on it. And I tend to go with that a little bit more, just because, again, I feel like for me, the more my weight is forward and I'm just ready to push off, I still have a connection into the floor with that foot. My 3 points of my foot are connected, all of that is there, but it's just a matter of I'm not back. I'm not like really thinking that I have a lot of weight bearing on it. But the main issue is that you just don't want to go to set up for a pirouette and be way back here. And you'll be surprised that it's like you see it more than you think, because you're going from a transition step and you're just kind of going into it, and we don't always have time to think, get over my front foot more. So as much as you can, try to think about that. My weight's more on my front foot. You can ask your teacher about exactly what ratio they prefer. And again, we're gonna think I'm gonna lengthen with this arm and deepen my plie. So that's really important too. And it's not so much that we're in plie. We see a lot of dancers that sit in their plie before a turn. I do this with my students all the time. I'm gonna turn, I'm gonna turn, I'm gonna turn, I'm gonna turn. And we don't wanna do that. We should, as we work up, just be able to go forth, up, turn, I'm there, go. But as much as we don't want to sit, we want to make sure that we establish our position correctly. So we're in our fourth, we're in plie, but then by deepening our plie, what we're also getting ready to do is to utilize this back leg in scooping under and up. So we want to think of an under circle of the back foot coming up to the passe position, so that it's initiating this kind of an action into our passe, while this leg, our supporting leg, is driving into the ground. So we have an up and we have a driving down at the same time. Our body has to be lifted, but it also has to be pushing down. So I'm gonna go lengthen, scoop, up, land. Like I say, for a single, it's just a balance that turns a little. In a lot of ways, it's not even a full rotation, because as this process happens, we do want our passe to occur very quickly. We want to get to the position. It's not gonna help us to be like, and then get to passe about here. Also, we're going to be getting at least about this far before it really happens. So then we're talking about kind of a 3/4 turn from there. And hopefully that makes sense and I'm not sounding crazy. So plie, lengthen, lengthen up, land. Let's show it from this angle. Gosh, I hate this angle on me. If we were taking our tombe, pas de bourrée, lengthen up, land. Turning from fourth, also, we generally speaking then land in a lunge. So if I'm in my fourth, I take my turn. I usually put this leg from my passe, land it behind in a lunge. So if we're to the left, turn, passe, place it behind. Let me show that from the back. So I'm here, I turn, this knee is leading, it lands there. That's my front, land. And a lot of times, like if we're doing tombe, pas de bourrée across the floor, then that frees it up to come forward. And tombe, pas de bourrée. Okay, from the left, take my turn, land. That's not to say that you can't have a turn from fourth, land in fifth behind. Some styles really like that a lot and do that a lot, and you should be able to control down the leg. Then that's also going to kind of force you to go balance at the end and then find that position. So that's as far as I'm going to go today. This is tip of the iceberg. All I want you to know today is that if you are in fifth, taking a pirouette, you're in fifth, you plie, you turn towards the leg that's coming up, zoom, get stuck on my floor. So the leg comes up, place behind. If you're going left, you have the left arm in front, left foot in front from fifth, plie, up, place behind. If you're from fourth, it's the same thing. If I were in fifth, I'd be here. If I'm in fourth, this leg goes behind, but then the turn is the same. The right arm opens, the right leg comes up. And usually if we're turning from fourth, we land in fourth. This is kind of the basic mechanics of pirouette en dehors. Very, very basic. I'm going to continue doing videos probably each week, probably one pirouette video each week for a while, talking about all of the other elements, because even as I'm sitting here filming, I'm like, oh, I need to talk about that, and that, and that, and that, and that. There's so much. I'm not getting into spotting this video because we're going to do a spotting video. So that's all for today. Again, subscribe if this helps you. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Join our Facebook group. We are here to empower all ages, all levels, all body types. So join our community. It's a great community. And can I just say that adult dancers are some of the most interesting people on the planet. When people got into the group and started telling me who they are and their stories, oh my gosh, we have some absolutely amazing people in our community. And I feel like I'm like the laziest one out of most everybody. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye. All right, thumbnail, Jana. We just used the cats fighting, right? I don't know if you can even see them, but they're like going at it, cat and sorcia.